Yo, crypto nation and mining family, what is going on? What is going on? I know I'm a little bit late. I've been dealing with a few things at the facility. Rabble, guys. Rabble. It's always something. Thank God I got an awesome business partner, Crypto Mikhail. Yo, my home doge. So if you guys are just sliding on in, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. You guys know what to do. Yeah. So let's go ahead and just kind of dive right on into it. Now, you guys know that when the market starts coming, pulling back to where it's of a normal level, I'm not looking at, yo, what up, automatic boots. You guys know that I don't look at market charts, so I know where to buy any Bitcoin or anything like that. If I'm going to DCA, I'm going to DCA. It's not going to matter. What I'm just kind of looking at is going, oh, cool. My Bitcoin goes further to pay bills now. And that's kind of how I look at it. It's like we're sitting in a good spot with that sweet, busy Bitcoin. So, I mean, markets are doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. What up, Integra guy? What up? So, according to the charts, it printed out a good buy signal. I took advantage of that, and it rewarded me. I'll admit it. I put my money where my mouth was. I bought like $50 worth of busy Bitcoin here on Saturday, and then it's just been going up since then. Yo, that's how you do it, guys. That's a proper DCA. Just a little bit of Bitcoin goes a long way. So we were able to get. I was able to get that going. Awesome. And so we'll be able to do that once again. We'll be able to sit there and just kind of sit back, take a look at what this market's doing. It's trading sideways right now. Like I said, I'd like to see us close Friday above 25,000. So, I mean, granted that we all know that Bitcoin never sleeps, but for like US side typical trading times, by the end of Friday, closing above 25,000. We are right below that right now. We're like $13 away from $25,000 right now, fellas. So, I mean, it's not unfeasible to being able to break this right. It's like, or we were right there for the height, of it. It's like we're sitting so close, so close, and it's bouncing all over the place. There's a lot of arbitrage going on. So I mean, I don't really look at second to second on there. I look at the overall day. Today we've spiked out 25,254, so we are nudging that $25,000 barrier. And I think we're going to continue to keep on nudging it. I think I'm looking at the wrong numbers too on that. I hate when I do that. So it's at 24,679. The trading volume. Okay, so the trading volume can push it just under 25,000. If the selling volume doesn't keep pushing it back down. Okay, so that's what I was looking at. I had my notes wrong. So they were backwards. So we'll have a little bit of movement, I think, to go on the upside. We are currently above yesterday's high, so that's still bullish sentiment right there. It could flip over it. Bitcoin market is a fragile creature. The slightest little bit of FUD and it drops. We know how this works. What up, Wheeling Crypto? Yeah, so I mean, we could be looking at it going down by tomorrow morning, of course. I mean, that's the way of crypto. But for the way that the market looks, it looks like it's setting up for another movement going up. The MA200 moving average. is still on the uptrend. So I think that there's still some run up left in the market. We'll see how much. See how much. Like I said, if we can close the end of the week at 25,000, I think that'll restore a little bit of confidence at that $25,000 marker, and will make it a lot easier of a movement to see 30,000 by summertime. Easy. I mean, it all can go. I could be completely off on this one, and like I said, the slightest bit of FUD that comes up, game over. All metrics get thrown out the door, out the window. You're now on FUD metrics, where everybody's panic selling, and you can't chart that. So I mean, like outside of an event that you can't chart, it just looks like it's setting up for the right movement. What up, Gundy? Stuff and things. And if you guys are looking at being able to mine Flux going forward, I had popped up over onto Rapid Mining's channel, and he was talking about it and going to the proof of useful work, and what that's going to mean moving forward. Does that mean that GPU mining's dead from that point on? No, it's just a different consensus model, where you're running more enterprise grade stuff with more data lanes, and you're basically setting up little server blades. So you're gonna need workstation stuff or higher level. That's just gonna have the PCIe lanes, lots of them, and being able to have at least PCIe by 4 lanes or higher, by 4 or by 8, right? So if it's got by 1s, no good. So me and Mikkel were looking over at the farm at the motherboards that we have in our server cases. All of them that I've been looking at so far, looking up, they're all, even though they're riserless motherboards, right? And they're in full PCIe 16 slots, they are still only on Gen 1. That's why they're able to get top style CPUs and running the motherboards, right? Because of the fact that everything's a by 1. You're not talking about needing a lot of throughput. What do you mean? They're going to have to upgrade a portion of the miners, not all of them. So it looks like if we're Flux or Dynex, it looks like pretty much anything will work on it. That's proof of useful work. Now, I'm not sure if the way that Flux is rolling it out, does that mean you can't mine on your hardware? We'll have to see how that actually launches out. I mean, a lot of the stuff still right now is speculation. There is a Flux node. I got a miner that's going to be coming out for the proof of useful work, and it's going to be server grade stuff. But if you're trying to make one yourself, right? What is it going to take moving forward? And what you're thinking of grabbing for something like this, right? Something like maybe one of these, right? The Sapphire Rapids CPU, which will be the height platform. So Sapphire Rapids has been released last month. But this wasn't enough time for overclockers to claim multiple world records already. So they're already talking about getting this thing to ramp up. Now, this is all single core performance. You got some of the world-renowned overclockers there in the picture here. I know that this is DeBauer, who also does Thermal Grizzly. That's his the company that he's part of. So I mean, and I think the guy that's standing behind him is God, I forget what his name is. Oh my God, brain fart. Sorry guys, I can't remember everybody's names. But I mean, you're basically looking at a whole bunch of world-renowned overclockers sitting there. They got, it's like the temperatures on this. negative 133 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, minus 91.8 C. That is insane. Drawing almost 1900 watts to sit there and be the first time that they were able to outdo an AMD CPU. All this to outdo an AMD CPU, guys. 1.9 kilowatts there in OC. It's just not practical. Baller is all get out. I mean, but what does that mean for you guys? This thing is a 56 core CPU. It's going to be their flagship Sapphire Rapids. This thing is, it's the Xeon W9 34950X CPU. And this thing is, with the 56 cores, you're going to be looking at 112 threads on this. So you're going to have all the PCIe lanes that you need to do with this. So this would be a good alternative to like the AMD Threadripper Pro, depending on if you wanted to be on Intel or AMD platform. If you're looking at grabbing the AMD platform, that's where I'd be. If I was grabbing hardware, this is where I would be at. Period. I'd be, because like I know I can get some of the Threadripper stuff. I mean, even if I get the non-pro variations, right? And I grab a second gen Threadripper non-pro, and I get a top of the line motherboard for it. Get that fired up, and I'll have a bunch of lanes that I can sit there and utilize. Not as much as if I went on the Pro Series. Now, if you go to the Pro Series, the motherboards will come with the amount of PCIe lanes built into the board at the gen factor that you need. So it's like for the Threadripper Pro, they are coming out with a new one here coming in September. And this might be something that you want to look for if you are wanting to get involved with proof of useful work on Flux. So this is... It's like, oh, Fed Reserve press release sends out a DCA Adventure on DCA Adventure Discord. It's like, damn. What up, Rude? What up, what up? So with the proof of useful work side of this stuff, guys, we're going to be looking at the Threadripper being a very good lineup on there, because the second gen Threadripper, let's say you grab the 2950X, right? You're going to be looking at 32 cores, 64 threads. That is plenty of PCIe lanes that you can have at Gen 4 speeds on a Threadripper, on just the Threadripper, right? So with the Threadripper Pro, you're going to be, let's say the 5600X WX or something like that for the Threadripper Pro. You're going to be looking probably in that ballpark of about $2,000-ish secondhand market. I've never had a problem with AMD Threadrippers. They are not pinned out on the chip side, and it takes a lot to kill a Threadripper. I will tell you guys that right off the bat. It takes a lot to kill a Threadripper. You will kill the motherboard before you kill a Threadripper. Now, that being said, you can kill a Threadripper. There are ways, but it's not as likely. You'll be more likely to damage the motherboard where all the 100,000 pins are on the board. Oh my God. You'll have more of a problem trying to mount one of these things with correct pressure. It usually takes me 3 to 4 times to mount my Threadripper in order for it to finally boot, because the pins have got to go into the right position on the pad before it finally fires up. So there is that. I think that's like the biggest thing that I fight with my Threadripper is resocketing the bad boy, right? So with that being said, the Threadripper Pro is going to be in the same category. It's going to be a pain to get that first initial mount onto the motherboard. You'll end up getting RAM issues. It'll whenever it goes into the memory training, as soon as it goes into memory training, it will fail. Fails every time. Memory training every single time. And just pull the thing out, resocket it. If you're worried about it getting too hot in the process, you can just lay the cooler down just on it. You don't have to worry about putting thermal paste while you're just booting it up, making sure that it's able to post. As soon as you get it to post one time, you can turn it off and then assemble everything, of course. But that's just how I tend to deal with the Threadrippers. Gundy probably, he has more data center applications than me, where he works at data centers, and he works with those giant chipsets that, you have to mount those things like 100 times before it finally boots right. So this is going to be a good chipset to grab. It'll be able to handle Gen 5 and you'll have Gen 5 8 PCIe Gen 3 lanes on there. So I mean, it will be able to handle all of this stuff. Quad channel RAM on here. So whatever proof of useful work is going to need, the Threadripper should be able to throw whatever it needs at it. That's like, to me, that's like a poor man's workstation. They are expensive, but when you look at the alternatives, this is a poor man's workstation. So if you're looking for good quality, but again, this is going to be top quality stuff. $2,000 here, $500 for the motherboard. So and the more options on the motherboard, the more expensive it is. And then you still have a chassis you've got to be able to mount these into. So you guys are going to be thinking about slamming these into chassis that are going to be able to keep that the heat sinks on the motherboard cool, because these style motherboards are not designed to go into normal computer cases. They're designed to go into cases that are for servers. A lot of the coolers are passive coolers, where it takes a delta fan blowing air directed through them to keep these chipsets cool enough to stay operating and stable. So kind of keep that in mind whenever we're getting into proof of useful work. You are getting into data center level equipment. So the fans go, wee! Oh my God, yeah. When you're talking about making server equipment, you're not gonna want to have it in the next room, and you're not gonna want to have it next to your bedroom. It is beyond white noise. It's got a particular whistle, and those who know. So that's where I know, shameless shill here. You can send it over to the Family Mine, and we can sit there and host that same if you're wanting to get into that equipment and you don't want to run it at your house, we can host that stuff over at the Family Mine. So if you're thinking about doing that, join the Patreon links down below, my dudes. I know, shameless shill. I mean, otherwise, if you're looking at, like, if you don't want to deal with Intel, right? Here's one that's actually not too bad for what looks like to be proof of useful work. So you get 2 CPUs in here. So you definitely have all the lanes you need. You have 11 PCIe slots. And the way that they break them down, you get 4 PCIe by 16 slots. You get 4 by 4 PCIe 3.0 by 16. You get 4 by PCIe 3.0 by I guess by 8 for, yeah. It's hard to sit there and figure this out, but it says, I think these are like the amount of slots. So you can get it to where you get a by 4. This is where I kind of concentrated on, was right down here, guys. This section here, PCIe by what I think by 4 in 8 slots. So that is perfect for 8 GPUs. I never run more than 8 GPUs. I see 8 slots by 4 PCIe. That means 8 of these slots are going to give me my by 4 to my GPUs, and things will live life happily. And it's kind of interesting to sit there and see this. Not at the bad price on there. You're talking about $4,539, but to our average home miners, like a lot of us are, whenever I first started off, there's no way I could afford that. I would have been like, well, we're going to see if I'm profitable at the GPUs after this, because I don't have, almost $5,000 to shell out to get new hardware to continue mining something that's profitable. Now, does that mean that when Flux comes out, does Dynex swap over to this? Hard to say. I probably say that Dynex, I think, will continue the community that they have now, the way that they have it, and Flux will have their own iteration of proof of useful work. Buying a Threadripper, one a day. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't mind the Threadripper series on the pro side of it, because it's a little cheaper than this. I can get them used. I can get the CPUs used. So that cuts down a lot of cost on my end. And I can get the server grade motherboards. I would get that new. And this way I'm really cutting down my cost on stuff, right? So I can sit there and basically be out the door with right around that $2,000 to $3,000 with this motherboard. And this is the Threadripper motherboard for the Pro Series socket sets, right? See if my thing will pull up here. Bam. And you can see how many lanes you get here. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You get 7 lanes here on this board alone, with quad channel RAM. And this can be put into a you can actually have this with a standard chassis. It's like I would water block it. That would be me. I'd be water blocking this afterward, just the CPU. You don't have to get crazy with it unless you're mining on it. But a triple fan, so a 360 radiator, 360 mil radiator will do fine for a Threadripper Pro. I promise you. Is Mikkel in DEF CON 5 at the family mine? No, not yet. We had we had a power flicker. And basically what ended up happening with this power flicker is that a bunch of the rigs shut down and didn't come back on. And, they got very, very upset about coming back on. And so we had to go through everything. Some of the things came back. So some of the ASICs didn't come back. Like the gold shells did not come back. None of our, I think one gold shell out of all of them that we have there came back. Both of my E3 Antminers came back, but only one of them had an error on the hashing board that the hashing board didn't wake up with the rest of the ASIC, so it had to be powered off and hard rebooted, and then everything was fine on that. The 2 customers that we have, a bunch of their rigs were not happy coming back on. I try to set my rigs up most of the time to where they'll come back and they'll start hashing. I go into the BIOS setting, and I have it where it wakes back up upon AC. As soon as it detects any kind of power, it turns back on. Hold on, I got two cats over there thinking the back of this thing is a scratching post. Yeah, I knew you were back there. Stop being a butt. Gotta squirt them with water. Show them who's boss. So Mikkel had to make Bebop his way over to the facility to reboot some of my stuff, some of his stuff, and a bunch of our customer stuff. Our customers' stuff was the ones that had the most stuff off. So, I mean, ASICs will just come. They either come back or they don't. They're finicky sometimes, especially the E3s. The E3s, you can treat those like RX 580s. Straight up. I mean, they bork themselves just as quickly as an RX 580. They work great until they don't. What up, the Deadwood? It's like high, low, and everywhere in between. How is everyone? We are doing good. We are doing good. So, yeah, I mean, we sat there and Mikkel sat there, rebooted it. My one E3 wanted to fight us for a little bit. I was like, okay, this one is, I think, the one that I remember it is. I didn't remember if I kept that one or not. I probably did. So I was like, unplug it for like 5 minutes. Let the capacitors discharge, and then it'll boot back up. Because like he unplugged it, let it turn off, and he plugged it back in, and it still didn't want to come back. So I was like, let it completely hard cycle off. And when he plugged it back in, everything came back on, no problems. It'll be excellent for now until the next power flicker, and then it'll be like very unhappy again. I had one that was angry at me. I think this one's like a batch 4 that didn't like the hash boards didn't like coming back all the time. It had like an error, like I don't know what the error is in there. It's like I don't have any. I can't find any schematics for this thing either. So. And they're discontinued, so I've tried to get in Bitmain to hand me the schematics so I can work on it. But yeah, they want to keep that under lock and key. Like I'm going to sit there and re-engineer outdated hardware that uses too much wattage. The only reason why I can do it is that my power rate's cheap enough. Otherwise, these things would be off right now, right along with those RX 580s that I've got. All of those would be off if my power rate wasn't right. But, it's like looking at the proof of useful work side of it, we're going to be looking at grabbing, some of these higher end motherboards. You're going to be paying, $1,000, $2,000 for the motherboard. So put that into the budget if you want to do proof of useful work. The motherboard alone, you're going to be in the $1,000 to $2,000 range. Now, if you start looking at the Threadripper Pros and you go onto the used market, now this is one of the higher end ones. You can go with one of the ones that are a little bit lower, but I don't recommend going too much lower. And this is why you see certain things being so much money when it comes down to trying to do the proof of useful work. You're going to see price tags, and do not be shocked when you see them, guys. Threadripper Pro 5975 WX, $3,490. So call that $3,500. You're going to be doing plus another $1,000 for the motherboard. You see how when you start looking at it like this is the Intel side of it, $4,539. You're getting a lot of the same offerings between the two. So realistically, the proof of useful work, this is what it's going to, I think that's going to look like moving forward, unless you're going to get the pre-built proof of useful work miners to be able to set up. And you know, I don't know what hardware they're going to have in there. They haven't released any specs on this. They're pretty sealed up on that. But even if you decide, like if you went down this route, bro, you know, you could sit there and turn this into a personal server blade, you know, if you don't want to do the proof of useful work. So, I mean, it still has utility usage even without the proof of useful work. Now, you see how the slot spacing is. They are one space apart between each of the plugins. That means everything is going to have full ribbon cables, not any of the adapter to buy ones. You're talking full PCIe by 16 ribbon cables to bring each of the graphics cards out of the case to give it room. And then you're going to be looking at manufacturing or rigging up somehow a way to be able to hold these things and not knock off the ribbon cables off of the GPUs, grabbing them at different lengths. This way you got enough room in between the cards so that it can breathe. You see how this adds up very quickly. And it's really no different on this motherboard either. If you really look at it, guys. I mean, if you really look at it, these are only, you know, a one port spacing in between the cards. You're not rowing up a full series of cards on this unless they are blow-through cards, like server-style cards, where they've got a single blower fan at the back of the card blowing straight through, or you're going to be running everything on full-sized ribbon cables out of a case so that you can sit there and have the cooling for, you know, for something on this platform. Like I said, you can water block this. This can be all, they have water blocks for all of this stuff. That is, all Threadripper platforms are the same with the screw sets and the die set size. So, with that being said, EK makes a water block for this. It's perfect. So you don't have to do anything about that. So you're in good hands on there. So you don't have to have this motherboard in a server case. But you're going to have to figure out how to get, you know, 7 full-size ribbon cables to be able to utilize with this on top of the pricing for all of this. Then you're going to have a mounting system for the GPUs, right? Next thing you know, there's no price difference between this and setting it up as AMD. So it depends on, like, again, this is all speculation on how proof of useful work is going to work with Flux moving forward, if this is something that the regular person is going to be able to participate in moving forward. A4000 style. Yeah, exactly. Even with the A4000s though, Tech Man, you're still not getting them to slot into these single DIN ports. You know, it's like, I don't think, are the A4000s blow through? Or it's like, I thought the A4000s still have, I mean, unless you strip the fans off of them. If you strip the fans off the A4000s, then something like this will work. And then you put it, you know, you have it in this nice nifty chassis in here, and it goes really good. What up, Crypto McKill? He's like, FA, I am finally home. Yeah, nice, dude. FA to my home doge over there, Crypto McKill. That guy over there ran out to the facility real quick to reboot stuff. He's awesome. Can I get a FA in the Chisley chat for my man Mikkel? They are thin enough, but still get hot. Yeah. DeFi to Django did it for kicks. Nice. Very cool. So I mean, it's like, again, this is all kind of speculation on some of the hardware that we may need for proof of useful work, on how aggressive of hardware that we're actually going to need. I mean, some of the stuff's come out that, you know, they're saying that you're going to want to have at least PCIe by 4. So you're you know, it's like if you can't get the by 8, but you need a minimum by 4. Need higher RAM, like the 16 gigabyte VRAM. I mean, something like this, bro. Something like this, I'm telling you, you got enough RAM in here. I mean, there's plenty of RAM on something like this. On something like this, you got quad channel RAM. You can have, this thing will support 128 gigabytes of RAM. No problem. So I don't see that these two platforms being of any problem. We'll have PCIe Gen 4 minimum on all of this stuff. So I mean, very good solutions for what we possibly need. And I think that the cost to get involved with it, I think, are going to be the same no matter what platform you choose to go onto. Again, we're going to have to see what comes out and what they say minimum spec hardware is. And then this way we can sit there and try to find the cheapest options for us and move forward with that. If you're trying to participate in that, in the proof of useful work with Flux. What up, Sarth? What up? The card on proof of useful work will take a lot of VRAM one day. Oh yeah. You're gonna need but it's like that's where you go into enterprise grade stuff. You're talking servers at that point, and you're starting to lead away from the grassroots home miner, because you're starting to grab into hardware and equipment that, one, people can't afford. 2, even if they can't afford it, they don't want that stuff in their house. I mean, again, that's where the Family Mine LLC comes in play, and we can alleviate your noise issue by you can get involved with all this stuff and send your noisy hardware over to us, and we'll run that stuff at the facility in a very nice, safe and secure place. I bet you it's more safe and secure than a bank. All puns intended on that one. So I mean, we're gonna be, it's like I'm kind of curious to see what hardware is going to be required for proof of useful work on Flux side. Again, it's like, you guys know I'm not really big on poop coins and stuff like that, but you're talking about hardware. I kind of want to check it out. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to check it out. If it's hardware related, I don't care if it's sitting there mining poop coins. If I can sit there and have it be where it's got multiple uses on there, I don't need it just for poop coins. Like, I could sit there and use it as a storage server for the facility or something like that. Awesome. I will definitely do that, as a personal server for the company itself only. So, I mean, stuff like that would be cool to utilize. But, yeah, I mean, I just want to check out the hardware, see how it is. Is it worth running? Give a full analysis on there. So, I'm kind of getting prepared of what I need and what I might not need. I'm trying to see what it's like, if it can be done on a regular Threadripper platform, I might not, give up my Threadripper that I have here. I've got my old 1900X still, and I have not sold that yet. So I could sit there and potentially utilize that. Now it's only 8-core 16 thread, which, just to be able to mess around, I will buy another motherboard for it and fire this bad boy up. Just saying, I will do that. So, yep. I mean, that's pretty much where it is at the point for proof of useful work. Everybody's just speculating what's going on. We see that Dynex has their variation of proof of useful work, and everybody's able to mine that anyway. So is it going to be the same thing for Flux? We'll find out. We'll find out, guys. One hand it should be the same, and another hand it's not going to be the same because it's a different implementation from a different project. So we'll see. We shall see, guys. And we should see this too. Boom! An RTX 4060 has been leaked. Yep, it's a Founders Edition. Yep, it's boring. It looks identical to the last generation. It's goofy. It's weird. They work. I don't like the implementation of their 12-volt high power connector on there. I wish they would have done the spec that's close that Intel actually spec'd out, because that 12-volt high power connector is Intel's connector, like I had alluded to before. I've done a video on that like a few months ago, covering that there was an Intel variation and a non-Intel variation. Well, Nvidia decided to go with the cheaper one. Yeah, that's not Intel's. So the difference is that Nvidia's the clamping force comes through where the pin goes into the socket, right? It's got 3 little dimples on on each of the sides. So 4 sides of 3 dimples. So if you don't plug it in all the way, you're not getting a full proper contact patch between all the dimples, because that's the only thing that's giving you contact. Where Intel's variation has a 4 spring system, and that one gives you 4 smooth sides to have more surface area to passing electricity or electrons through. That sounds a lot safer. Intel hasn't had any issues with it, and they have had this in the data centers for a hot minute. So this is nothing that's a brand new connector. It's just a cheap one that Nvidia decided to cut a corner with. So unfortunately, be careful about if you're grabbing these things. Make sure you're plugging them in all the way. And when in doubt, wiggle. Give that sucker the wiggle test on there. Make sure it cannot back out of there. Make sure it's seated all the way. Like double check all 4 sides of it, that it's all the way down. I'm telling you guys, I don't want anybody to have issues with any of your investments. But the car, we're not being told when it's going to be released or anything like that. The non-TI is going to have 3,072 CUDA cores. The TI is going to have 4,352 CUDA cores. It's going to be sitting on the 80-106 die set and the 80-107. So you're used to seeing on the lower tier cards, they are going to be cut down. But as long as they give the performance that they're looking for, awesome. And as long as they're not gouging the prices, I'm happy as well. The TI's 4060 is going to hit a TDP of 160 board power. And do not forget, the riser also takes 75 watts, guys. Even if you're plugging it directly into the motherboard, that means the motherboard has to supply the 75 watts. So just kind of keep that in mind, that, you're going to be looking at what 230 watt, 240 watt total board power if it's in maxed out mode, and it can happen while it's mining for a brief moment that this thing takes full power, guys. So just kind of keep it in mind whenever you're sitting there plugging in a whole bunch of these, that you're not overloading a power supply in the process of everything. The Nvidias have also higher power draws upon startup. So if you have weird boot up issues, sometimes you're overloading your power supply, and upon boot up, if everything's asking for full power for that moment, and you have a kind of subpar power supply, it'll let you know. in a really peculiar way. It'll just act really buggy. You'll be able to get it to boot, but it'll act really buggy from time to time. So kind of keep that in mind, guys, that it's easy to overpower power supplies. So be careful out there. I always make that, you know, knowing to people to kind of always keep in mind, you know, it's the easiest thing to overlook. You know, you're like, oh, look, I got more PCIe cables. I can just plug these in, right? Add up your wattage and your riser power. I don't care if you're using risers or not. You could have a riserless motherboard. They're still pulling 75 watts. Yo, Automatic Beats, he's like, I'm off work. Whoop, whoop, let's effing go. Yeah. That's right, dude. Congratulations to getting done with your slavery. You're done with jail. Nice. So we are definitely going to be looking at, you know, I'm thinking, you know, it's like we're going to see that the product stack, the lineup on there is because these come out. Other GPUs are going to come down in price. So like I always tell people, always kind of wait until the cheaper stuff comes up because it'll make the older hardware drop in price also. So just kind of keep that in mind. Things will start coming down in price unless there's like this mega mining boom like it was Ethereum 1.0 on fire again. We're not going to see that big historic GPU grab. I think for right now, the GPU mining market is going to kind of level off, kind of relax out a little bit. We've had a mega bull run that we all came off of. If you're new here, you missed it. If you're, you know, been here for a hot minute, you know what I'm talking about. You know, so I mean, we're going to sit there and have this leveling out moment. So I think GPU prices should return back to normal here at some point. I don't know how, if Nvidia is going to come off of their high horse and start deducting their prices back down to reality, or, you know, are they beholden to their stock shareholders so much that they can no longer drop prices down without thinking that they're going to go bankrupt now. So we'll have to see how they play things moving forward on there. But at least we know we got the 8106 die set and 8107 coming out here soon. In April here, so we have the 4070 coming out in April. That'll be a 5,888 CUDA cores, 200 watt TDP plus the 75 watts. So this would be a 275 watt card that can potentially spike up a little higher than that. So if, you know, this is why you always got to add up your wattage for your power supply. Do not overload that stuff. We don't want damaged equipment, smoked memory modules, because that's usually what gets hit is the memory module. And that's always been Nvidia's Achilles heel, guys. When you smoke an Nvidia card, you smoke memory, and when you smoke the memory up, it hits the core with 12 volts power and kills the core. Where AMD, whenever it sees the power ripple, you corrupt BIOS. So the BIOS chip dies on it, and you have to send it back in for warranty because the BIOS chip is dead. Not because the card's bad. It usually borks out the BIOS like something fierce when it dies out. AMD is a little bit nicer about how they're regulating power. I do give them that. But yeah, Nvidia, you give it too much power rippling. I've got P104s. Yeah, P104s or P106s, one of the two. A stockpile of them where you can see, like, I can trace the pathways through the PCB. And I can see that board, it sent 12 volts through the memory, hit the core, and when it hit the core, it burnt up the memory controller. When it burnt up the memory controller, it hit the core a second time with 12 volts. It was dud. That thing was a dud. They will continue to butt pound people. Yeah. JTAG, yeah. Almost. So they basically be sitting there and putting in a new BIOS chip on the AMDs, and then they've got to sit there and reflash that thing. It's kind of like playing with a JTAG. Almost. That's FPGA lingo there. It's kind of like that, kind of. I had it explained to me. It was a little bit above my knowledge set, so some of it I didn't quite understand all of it, but it's almost like playing around with an FPGA, almost. And if you think that the banking contagion doesn't still ripple through the crypto sphere, check this out, guys. Marathon Digital terminates credit facilities with Silvergate Bank because they were one of the ones that blew up, fellas. So Bitcoin mining firm Marathon Digital has paid off its term loan and terminated its credit facilities with Silvergate Bank. Just as a crypto-friendly bank announcement, it would be winding down operations. Marathon announced on March 8th that it had prepaid its outstanding loan balance earlier that day, and it would be terminating the revolving line of credit between the firms, providing Silvergate Bank with a 30-day notice in early February. Marathon's debt's been reduced by $50 million, and increasing the company's unrestricted Bitcoin holdings by 3,132 Bitcoin. They ain't done, guys. So looks like they're sitting there pulling, but no longer doing business with a bank that's failing. These banks are the canary in the coal mine. It rippled internationally. Again, this is the canary in the coal mine. You cannot endlessly sit there and print money and not have means of production to pay for it. You shut down the country, you shut down the economy globally, and then you print money. It's going to have devastating effects. They're going to kick the can down the road, guys. People are thinking that this year it's going to be bad. So let's hope that it's not as bad as what some of the people sit there and state. But seeing banks collapsing now, they are the canary in the coal mine. It's usually the riskier banks get caught with their pants down first. It's going to be the same thing with exchanges. As the market tanked, what did we see, guys? Different companies getting caught with their hand in the cookie jar. You know, Celsius, and others like that, FTX. You know, when the times are good, you can pull off some scams, and the world might not catch on to it right away. As soon as it goes the other way, your fraud comes out front and center immediately. Banks, the bank's internal frauds are basically coming out into the light, and I don't know if it's because the governments are trying to nationalize the banks. That's a scary thought, to have nationalized banks, because if the banks are nationalized, that's communism. And then the CBDC coin comes out, and you have to use that. Track and trace the world. So let's hope that's not what the dark circle we're going down. But seeing that some of these companies that are a little bit more risky, that these banks got involved with and gave them low interest rates. So as Jerome Powell increases these rates, he's going to effectively cause a banking collapse as he raises interest rates, because as the interest rates were near zero for them, they were also giving out sweetheart loans with sweetheart interest rates on there, that now the federal interest rate is higher than what they're bringing in. They're illiquid, and the bonds are now, are garbage. They're not making no money on the bonds. Printing the money negatively affected the bonds. Increasing the interest rate negatively affects the bonds. If they're consistently keeping the interest rates near zero, bonds do good. With the interest rates running high, they're getting crushed on the other side of it. So they can't cover their spread. These banks are going bankrupt. The insurance, the FDIC insurance is now going to be infinitely helping them out at any money level. So basically, if smaller banks start going bankrupt and you have your money there, the FDIC insurance has already been pulled. Let's put it that way. The FDIC insurance can only cover 10 to 15% of the market. If the top banks pull that FDIC insurance first, there's nothing for the little guy that was supposed to be there to protect me and you from these exact same scenarios. And they're going to give it away to the top 10% of the world. I mean, we already know that it's all corrupt and everything like that, but they're just getting way more blatant with it. And this is why we're in Bitcoin. 100%. Yeah, exactly. This is not financial advice. BlackRock, Vanguard, and JP Morgan are next. It depends on who they're donating to. If they're Democratic mega donors, they'll get bailed out. Just saying. BlackRock is a Democratic mega donor. I think JP Morgan's a Democratic mega donor. I think Goldman Sachs is a Democratic mega donor. So not financial advice or anything like that, but I don't see the banking system like collapsing. I see a few banks failing, like they are right now. But we'll have to see how this goes. If they have to print their way out of this, we're going to see way more debt getting stacked up. And with them bailing sitting there covering the people at the bank for their the depositor side, that just basically shows the banks can do whatever they want and the government will pay for it. So again, there's no consequence for them. It's really funny. And the government just wants to protect the banks by any means necessary. It's hilarious. Like, look at things I post on DCA Discord. $0 AMD bring CBD in July. Yeah. And bring CBD in July. Maybe it depends. I mean, I've seen some of it. I've seen some senators fighting that. So we have pros and cons with this one. So I'm not sure how much I'm believing in on that. And then crypto mining here. Caspa is tied with Ethereum Classic among Hive OS users. So statistically, people are either mining. So all of you guys out there seem like statistically you're either mining Caspa or Ethereum Classic. Imagine that. Followed by Ravencoin, Nexa, Ergo. So Caspa has been slowly catching up to ETC. Why ETC? Because it's not very power intensive. Everybody's trying to be lean and mean with this. And if you're gonna sit there and you're gonna mine at a loss, you might as well mine at a loss with something that's not gonna cost you a whole lot to mine at a loss with, right? So I mean, it makes sense. And with Ethereum Classic having its like little bit of rises here, it kind of makes it worth it every so often to be mining it. I mean, I've been mining it this whole time with my E3s. It's old ass hardware, but again, my power rate's correct where I can sit there and run this at a semi profit, I guess. So we'll definitely be seeing how long that if or how long it takes Caspa to absolutely tie up or pass. I mean, for what I understand, Caspa Network, they've got a lot of build out on there. Community seems pretty solid on it. Within the community, there's usages of Caspa inside the community. Again, nothing that I'm playing around with, so I mean, I'm not gonna bash it one way or another. On usability side of it, it's like I don't mind Caspa, so I'm like not in the ecosystem at all. I mind Ethereum Classic, but I'm running that with ASICs. So there is that, guys. And among the new coins slowly going up, apart from Nexa, that's already quite high up on that mining list also. Dynex is starting to see a little bit of a rise along with Radians. So these seem to be the coins that, from statistics, that they're seeing that a lot of people on Hive seem to be mining. So I believe if I can pull this up, algorithms, we got Caspa, ETC hash, Kapow, Eth hash, Nexapow, Auto Lycos 2 script, GR SHA-256, which is Bitcoin, Random X, which that will be your Monero, Equihash, and a few others. So you're talking ETC, Caspa, Raven, Nexa, Ergo, RTM, Monero, Zil, not sure what NA is, Bitcoin, Litecoin, ETHW, and then a few other coins too. But these are the ones that seem to be at the top of the list, guys, which is pretty decent, right? I mean, we're going to be seeing some of these things. You guys didn't even see that. I had it on the wrong string. I thought I hit the button. I must have hit it just crooked, and it didn't pop over. So this is what I was trying to show you guys right here. It's just showing the statistics of what's being mined away on Hive itself. So these are your top coins according to Hive. So pretty cool stuff. And then just to kind of follow it up, he's like, it's easy to swap for the ETH junkies is why. Yeah, for sure. And then let me go ahead and refresh this because I haven't refreshed it in a little bit now. So pretty much if you come on to hashrate.no, Nexa seems to be good for your higher tier cards. Dynex, Caspa kind of been floating around. Dynex is kind of not on the top of the list anymore. Again, when you're dealing with coins, it kind of comes and goes, in waves, right? You'll find that, you'll click on something. Oh, I'm going to start chasing some of these profits, right? So let's see here. I've got 3080s. It's saying I should be mining Caspa with my 3080s right now. That I would be making 27 cents profit above the electric, right? And this is at actually let me put it to. I don't know why it keeps putting it at a electric rate that I don't even have at my house. So let me go back to that. So my 3080 here. So they're saying Caspa 3080, you're going to make 12 cents a day above your electric, right? So 12 cents a day above electric. Keep that in mind. I click on this, right? And it shows Nexa making 27 cents. So you're not stuck just trying to mine Caspa for 27 cents. There's 2 coins that you're going to make 27 cents off of. Nexa, not bad. Alphemium, 26 cents. Xano, 23. Conflux, 23. Chinet, I don't know about that, 21 cents. Cortex, 16 cents. Radiant, 16 cents. Nexa, you're looking at 13 cents. Dynex, 11 cents. It's still profitable, but it's definitely slipped down the stream on this one, right? So it's not as profitable. Should everything be now switching over to Nexa? Maybe. I mean, you're sitting here just kind of going through and going, Vertcoin makes 12 cents a day above the electric. Making a little bit. You can be mining Vertcoin and earning more than you would mining Dynex right now. So what was profitable 2 days ago ain't profitable today, because a whole bunch of people are on the network. They're mining it. They're selling it for Bitcoin. It puts sell pressure down on these coins. It eventually does drop back what it's actually putting out emissions-wise versus coin price-wise. So, you can be mining Caspa, Nexa, so depending on what network you want to utilize, or if you're just trying to trade into Bitcoin, which one's going to be the easiest way for you to trade into that busy Bitcoin. So just kind of keep that in mind, fellas, whenever you're looking at it. Now, not all mining sites are the same for what could be more profitable. Let's say you had let's tit for tat on that one. Let's see here. Where's the 3080? There it is. So we're gonna put in 13080 into the rig list here. 11 cents. Calculate. They're saying Alphemium, you'd be losing 13 cents a day. Conflux, you'd be losing 16 cents a day on Conflux. 13 cents a day you'd be losing on Alph. Zero, you'd be losing 17 cents a day. Caspa, you'd be losing 5 cents a day. So it all kind of depends on your metrics of where you're pulling data from. So that's why I always say kind of look at stuff with a grain of salt. Because they don't even, you could be mining Flux, it'd be losing you 30 cents a day. You got the parallel assets. Let's say you're losing 18 cents a day with the parallel assets, right? Radiant, they're saying that you'd be almost break even on Radiant. It's better than nothing, right? Beam, you'd be losing 37 cents. I've mined Beam before. Privacy coin, I like it. ETC, you'd be losing 38 cents a day mining it with this coin. If you were mining Feather coin, you wouldn't be making any money. I don't know why that's on here. You wouldn't be making anything on there. NeoScript is dead. Kind of funny they got that on there. So I mean, not all mining programs agree with each other, guys. So kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at some of this stuff. That not all websites are the same. So look at 3 or 4 of them to kind of gauge where things are kind of sitting at. All right, everybody. That's like words of wisdom, just a little bit. And if you guys are trying to get into the ASIC life, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and refresh this because sometimes it changes. So if you got yourself an Antminer D9, wow, this one looks like it. So it's on the X11 algorithm. February, it just came out. So the it couldn't have just came out. They must have just released a batch on this. D9. What the hell is this? Dash. Cannabis coin, monetary unit coin, digital price classic, Onyx, and Axe. So this is the new Dash miner. You'd be making $12.81 a day, at 12 cents per kilowatt hour, guys. Where you're going to find one of these, depending on where you're at in the world, depends on where I would recommend you to grab it. AK miners, I hear that people have gotten stuff from them, but that's China. BT miners, I know people who've gotten stuff from them. They are on pre-order right now, so they've probably sold out of all their stuff. This is a U.S. side company, and that I don't know about a safety miner. That one's a new one on my radar. I've never heard of them before. They are U.S. bound too. Mine Shop. You can trust this one here if you wanted to grab from Mine Shop. If you do not know who that is, this guy is an OG in the space. That is Guntis. He has a YouTube channel. I don't know if he's still doing anything for his YouTube channel. He had his little mining area / welding area burn up on him, and I don't know how he's doing it. I haven't talked to him in a hot minute. Reminds me, I should probably try to get a hold of him one of these days. I should try to get a hold of this awesome dude, and all that stuff. It's like, yes, he is the best. I know the OGs, my dude. I know the OGs in this space. He has a new shop. Nice. That is good to hear. Good to hear. He had he was welding in the shop, and apparently a hot ember got into an area where there's some cardboard boxes, and up in smoke it went. So unfortunately, so I mean, it's like always be careful of where you're grabbing your ASICs from. But anyway, you're gonna be able to grab these things. You're gonna be looking at $5,000 and up. So again, if you're sitting there and looking at proof of useful work, and you're like, man, it's a lot of money. Look at the profitable ASICs. They're a lot of money too. Anything that makes money is gonna always cost you some dollars. These are immutable facts. Then you got your Antminer L7 making $12.66 a day. iPolo G1 making $6 a day. We've got the Jazzminer X16Q for ETC. That's supposed to come out in May. And they're already that was supposedly looking like it was making some decent coin. Now it's been downgraded to be making $3 a day. And it's not even out yet. And what are they selling this thing for already? $3,000, guys. So you can get it from see here, Mine Shop again. So we got at least Mine Shop, BT miners, that I know that two places that you guys can trust to grab stuff from. Mine Shop looks like it has a pre-order on there, and BT miners is going to be in stock, but they're going to have a markup on there, of course. Mine Shop, if you're not paying attention, it is coming out, I think, out of Italy. So just kind of keeping an eye on that depending on how far you are, it depends on how much it's going to cost you. If you're in the United States, just talk to Guntis and tell him to ship it DHL, and that will help you guys out. And he'd be more than happy. He's like, what was eating? What did I miss? What did I miss? You missed everything, bro. You missed everything. It's like Mine Shoppers. Yep. I miss Guntis. One of these days, I got to talk to him, see what he's been up to, all that good stuff. So, I mean, if you're trying to do the whole proof of useful work, guys, just know that you guys are going to be paying out the yin yang to get updated hardware, no matter which depending on which direction you go. Now, does it mean that you need to upgrade your whole farm? You need to start doing ASIC mining, or you need to just ditch what hardware you've already got for GPU mining? No, it just means that if you're wanting to get with to stay along with the proof of useful work with Flux, there's going to be a hardware update that's going to be, we just don't know what the exact specs are. We're just speculating at this point for exactly what it's going to need for bare bones minimum. It's always easier to see which hardware you can get going on there. Like I said, I've got a Threadripper. If I can sit there and fire up a Threadripper build and get proof of useful work going onto a Threadripper, then we can start dialing back on how top tier equipment you need to go to get proof of useful work to be operating the way that they recommend. Irish, he is nice. He's got the look of the Irish. That's awesome. That is awesome. So we are at that. We are over that 1 hour marker, guys. Thank you everybody for being here. We're like 20 minutes over, whatever. But I mean, like, again, that's like, I'm just to kind of recap real fast here. I don't think you need to sit there and run out and grab the new hardware. There's other coins that you're going to be able to mine. There'll be other new projects that come out that will get a little bit of traction here, a little market share, and will be able to suffice a lot of the miners that stay on the network. It's just going to be a little bit of growing pains as certain coins start shifting around what they're doing. But I do not think that you're going to have to get new hardware in order to stay mining moving forward. GPU mining with the older hardware is not dead. It's just that as newer algorithms come out, demands on hardware start getting increased on there, and unfortunately that will start hindering the startups of some of these companies, and they'll probably not try to implement such hardcore mining stuff. You'll have a few here and there, but not until they build a good community behind it will they try to do something like that. I mean, look at how long Flux has been mining before they're now transitioning into proof of useful work. So we'll see how that all goes, and all that good stuff. So thank you everybody for being here, all that good stuff. Definitely FA in the Chizity chat, guys. And if you guys are wanting to have your rigs hosted at the Family Mine, certainly get into the Patreon. Links down below. Get in there and get into the pseudo hasher tier. There are perks that come along with it as long as you stick along with it, guys. We are in the beginning stages. We're going to be trying to sign contracts probably this week. If I can, or by next week latest. I'm hoping we can just get the stuff signed. This way I can get the project moving forward to getting a 0.5 megawatt worth of power. Yeah. So if you guys want to come along for the ride on that one, certainly jump into the into the Patreon, get into the pseudo hasher tier so you can get a VIP access to the ride. Get to the big show on that one, guys. I'm just saying. And also, smash that lizardy like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. FAs in the chat, everybody. Drop those FAs in the Chizity chat. And with that being said, peace out. Stay savage. May your watts be low and your hash be high. I'll see you on the next one. Yo.